Hi, greetings everybody. It is Saturday, July the 21st, 10 a.m. on the East Coast, 7 a.m. Pacific, and we're here for your weekly update. The team is gathered. We haven't done a team one for a couple of weeks now. And lo and behold, in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen is a new face. Kate Warwick joins us from, where are you today, Kate?
Austin, Texas.
From beautiful Austin, Texas. And you've joined us to do what, Kate? Tell us a little bit. I mean, I know, but tell the good people.
I am helping out with customer service, talking to our lovely customers, and I'm enjoying myself.
Super. Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you with us. So Kate and Sandy and my lovely wife Amy are the kind of the main team there. Continue being nice to them, please. But we are here. And where should people email, Kate, if they want to email us for customer service?
hello@magfast.com.
hello@magfast.com. All right. So things are getting busy around here. The team is working incredibly hard. And there have been a few questions. I think I mentioned to you last week in the update that there's been like a lot of new customers coming in. And so we got a more than usual number of questions around crowdfunding. I think, Amy, you were saying it'd be good to say a few words about crowdfunding this week. And I'm just going to do like a little potted history, explain why it's different and why your kind of kindness and support is so important for young companies like us getting started. Back in, I don't know the exact year, but in the kind of probably around the time of the kind of Obama inauguration, so kind of sort of 8-10 years ago, something around then, there was a group of folks from Wall Street actually got together, and they were trying to figure out how to help young companies to get started, because traditionally they can't take investment money. There's some new laws that make that easier now, but it wasn't possible at that time. And they were kind of figuring, look, you've got YouTube, you've got eBay, you've got all these amazing online tools. Why is there not a way that folks can pitch their idea for a project or a company or a product or for a movie to the general public and get it funded? And one of the people involved in that conversation is someone who's a friend of mine. We don't get to see each other terribly often. There's a guy called Slava Rubin, who's the founder of Indiegogo, which is one of the two main platforms. You've probably heard of Kickstarter and Indiegogo. And Indiegogo started out just it's called Indiegogo because of independent movies. That was what they started with. And basically, the thing that both of those platforms and a number of others have in common is the idea that folks can lay out what they have in mind as a project. And for folks like you who love what's going on, there's the opportunity to support the project, to pre-order, or technically to pledge support with the promise of products when they come down the line. And over the years, it's become very sort of, if you look today at Indiegogo and Kickstarter, a lot of the things are kind of almost ready for production, like they're shipping in a few weeks or whatever. But the traditional crowdfunding, which is what we've done for this project, involves coming really, really early to supporters and saying, look, we've got this amazing thing that we want to do. Here's the plan. This is what we want to do. This is the description, and then folks step in to support it, and it's become kind of a major force in getting new businesses and new companies off the ground. I don't have the data for Kickstarter off the top of my head, but Indiegogo has already done $1 billion in funding from amazing folks like you to young companies like us. Amy and I, as you know, did a previous charging project a few years ago. We did that on Indiegogo, and then when we came to do MAGFAST, we decided to do it on our own website. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to do, and the ladies know it's very rare to have a meeting with Seymour without me drawing a circle on the board. I think it's time for today's circle. So it's probably time for today's, as we get rid of the old non-working pen and get up a new one. It's to do with the dollars. If you sell something that has a significant cost of goods attached to it, so if you sell a lecture, right? If you sell an internet lecture, it doesn't cost you really any more money to have one more customer, right? You're just there. You're doing the lecture anyway. you sell it for $50. One more person attending, most of that $50 is available for the company to spend on other things. It doesn't cost you very much to have one more person watching. But in the case of MAGFAST and hardware, there's a significant cost of goods. And because we're giving you guys such an amazing deal with the Pro Kit, right? Most folks watching this have gone for a Pro Kit, and God bless you, thank you. The cost of goods is actually a surprisingly high proportion of that. All right. Then there's the cost of advertising, and our cost of ads is in there somewhere, which, by the way, is an amazingly low slice. It's one of the it's one of the things we are most proud of. Many companies spend, up here, sort of, 40, 45, 50%. Certainly in the early days, acquiring customers. So that's one of the things that's amazing. And then in here, you've got the credit card companies. They take their piece when they agree to forward the money to you. That is, they still take 3% down there. Right, then there's cost of the good ladies you see in front of you now, customer service cost something. So there's all these slices coming out here, and 5%, which is the cost of going on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, is a very significant piece out of that. You might not think it's much out of 100, but it's quite a lot out of, well, we got 45 there and call it 25 there. So what have we got left in here? What's left after 30 or something? So if you've got 30 left in there, 5 out of 30 is a very, very big slice. So to improve the profitability and the margins and to make the thing stronger, that was why we elected not to go on Kickstarter or Indiegogo. So that's a rough summary of it. The other thing that's really important is I wanted to talk about why the support, why your support is so vital. Not just to us, but to other young companies that are getting started, and about how you are protected. Because I can't tell you how much of every week we spend working on, like, how do we make this great? How do we make the thing as strong as possible? How do we make sure that the customers are thrilled with what they get and that they're protected? And there's basically a couple of different layers of protection. First of all, I would just want to remind you what the, I don't even like to say it out loud, but the policy is, okay? Because occasionally one or two people ask for it, not understanding how critical this process is. And we have what we think is something incredibly fair here. We have a 72-hour window at the beginning, which is common in online and television marketing. We're just online, which is if people kind of buy something and then they oh my goodness, so we have a 72-hour window for people to to reconsider the decision they made. We then, when we ship, which is still a ways off, when we ship, if you don't adore it, right? If you only like it, if you only like MAGFAST when you get it, you must return it to us, because love is the only acceptable standard for us in this equation. So if it's anything less than love, if it's only 99% of love, if it isn't actually love, you send it back. We'll give you 100% refund. Okay, that's our commitment to you. That's why we're taking so bloody long over the whole thing, is because we want something that's incredible at the end. It's really quick. And Kate's dad can actually attest to this, because he's been an electrical engineer. How many products has he made now, Kate? It's 30 some, right?
Yeah, at least it's
yeah.
been a
It's 30 some, and Rich is actually doing some part-time consulting with us now. But he can attest to, it's really easy to make an average product, quite quickly. It still takes many months, but like the kind of most of the junk that's out there is fairly easy to do. To do something that's world class, it just takes time and care and a lot of money. And that's what we promised you we were going to do, and we're bloody sticking to it no matter what. So the policy, so you've got to love it when you get it, or we'll refund it. There's a 72-hour window at the beginning. The place in the middle, right? It's incredibly important that you stick with us, right? Because we're here every week. You know we're real. Look at the crew in front of you, right? Look into our, well, don't look into my eyes, but look into the eyes of the nice ladies there. It's a very real team. Those of you who watch us every week, you know how hard we're working on this. But your support, your solid support through that middle piece is absolutely critical, because it's always really hard. I got a text message just before we went on air just now, and I was like, I think this is, this is really good news. And it was to do with bloody banking and like just the kind of annoying side of business. Turned out it was good news. Great, onto the next challenge. The reason that you are safe the whole way through is that, first of all, is because we're doing a great job here and we're going to ship something great. But if ever we didn't, your credit card protects you, right? That's part of we pay, right? We and our partners pay fees to the credit card company to protect you. That's part of the deal. It's kind of like, think of it like insurance, right? Okay, you don't if your house is worth $100,000, you don't pay $100,000 in insurance. You pay a few hundred in insurance, and that's the nature of the business. So we pay a fraction of every dollar that comes through goes to the credit card companies to provide you with protection. So I just wanted to underline that, because the ladies have been saying there've been one or two questions coming in from people who aren't completely clear about that over the last couple of weeks. I'm just going to put everybody back on the screen, because that was a bit of a long monologue from me, and I just wanted to raise, with Amy, Sandy, Kate, was there anything in there that raised a question in your mind, like like something that I wasn't clear about, or something that triggered a question that you guys have had recently?
Well, people ask about the Norton shopping guarantee. Oh,
sure. So let's talk about that. And by the way, I wrote up a little piece on this, when was it? I think last weekend. So if you want more details on it. But there are basically, so Norton shopping guarantee, it's one of the things that we do. It's another of the investments that we make to give you, a sense of safety and security, because it's Norton. Okay, Norton don't just let anybody onto their platform. Similarly, McAfee, that you'll see is one of the tags on the website. You can't, you have to set a certain standard in order to work with these people. Norton shopping guarantee gives three pieces of protection. The first one, and probably the most valuable for anyone, is that if there's this great problem in general with identity theft at the moment, and so for 30 days after anyone transacts with MAGFAST, there's 30 days of identity protection, regardless of where, if there's a breach of your identity, regardless of where it is, right? So we've built our website to be super secure. We worked really hard on it, but then so did Target, and so did what are they called? Equifax. Yahoo, like all of these really, really big companies. So our stuff is much simpler. There's many fewer entry points, I think, as the security people call it. But nevertheless, we want to make sure, we want to do our very best to protect you. So we buy this insurance, but the insurance covers you in your whole life for 30 days. So you're almost certainly fine with us. But if you weren't, you're covered. But if you go off and if Target have another breach and you have your identity stolen at Target within the following month, we have paid for you to have some cover under those circumstances. And then the couple of other things are those, if we were to change the price, which I don't think, we have no intention of doing it, but if for any reason we were to change the offer and you could have got it for a few dollars less, you just get in touch with us and we'll look after you. But Norton is guaranteeing that they would make up the difference, again within a 30-day window. And the final piece is, if there were any, which there never would be because you're so amazing, and Amy and Kate and Sandy and Amanda, who isn't here today, who do customer service, are so amazing, and we're putting together policies that are designed to delight you. So this would never happen. But if there were something other than an agreement, a disagreement between us, they guarantee you for 30 days. So yeah, it's for 30 days, and shipping is further out than that. But we think it's a useful piece of extra protection, some real protections for you, and some extra comfort that you can feel getting involved with us. Yeah, does that answer it, Amy? Yeah.
Yep.
I was listening to a podcast yesterday about what's it called when people choke under high pressure situations, like golfers choke when they've just got to do the final stroke, or during important speeches or presidential debates. Do you remember? I'm going to cut the three pieces of government, and Rick Perry couldn't remember the final one that he was going to cut. You remember that famous example a few years ago? And the advice from the psychological experts about how to perform under pressure is never to say three things. And just now I was like, Norton shopping guarantee. I know it's 3 things, but if I say 3 things out loud, I'll never be able to remember what the third one is. So I just started talking about it, and luckily they all came to me. But if I'd said 3 things, you can be sure I'd have gotten stuck after 2 of them. So just a little public speaking tip. Just start doing your list, but if it isn't written down, don't promise the number of items in the list, because your brain will go and catch you out. All right. Are there any other questions on the docket we want to cover for now, or should we roll stuff over to next week, or what do you want to do, Amy?
Actually, there's one question that I've got here.
Okay.
I've heard a few times this week. This one's from Rachel.
Hey, Rachel.
She says, I really appreciate the Friends and Family gifting program.
Mm-hmm.
What happens, though, if my friend doesn't accept my gift?
Well, first of all, you unfriend them. Right, this is not a... Rachel, come here. Come a little closer, Rachel. This is not a friend. This is no friend. But on a serious point, we allow you to, of course, with pleasure, we will help you switch that over to someone else. Is the bottom line on it. If they really don't want, like, the best charging system in the world as a gift from you, like I say, they're not a friend, but we will help you. Just get in touch with customer service, hello@magfast.com, and we will, with pleasure, help you switch it over to someone else. We are working on a web interface. It's still going to be a while, where you can log in and kind of, adjust your gifts yourself and so on. But for now, just hello@magfast.com, and we'll get you straightened out. Yeah, of course. We are the premise of... I'm trying to find the right way of saying this. We're working to do everything at the highest possible standard. And big companies find that really difficult, as you know, which is why you're disappointed in them so often. We're able to be more nimble because we're little, but we also have a fraction of the resources of a larger company. But I had a new expert I was talking to yesterday who was looking at the products, and they were like, this is seriously impressive. Like, you guys have just thought this through to a much, much deeper level than most products. And I was that's what I believe, but I was really pleased to hear it from someone coming to look at it fresh. And similarly with customer service, the goal is that if you get in touch with us at customer service, you're just delighted. All right. So please assume that when you get in touch. All right. That's what everyone's aiming to do. And if you write in, without that, we've just put it straight into Sandy's box, and she's lethal, right? She'll it's like, what's that move in judo? When you come in and you go and turn the person's energy around. We send them to Sandy, right? So anyway, send a loving note to the guys, and they'll get you straightened out. And I will, and whenever I'm needed to help with something, I'm always available as well. All right. So that'll do it, I think, for this week. Thank you, ladies, for all of your hard work. Thank you for supporting us. You're incredible. We could not do this without you. Your support is and means everything to us. We're incredibly grateful, and I'm going to hang up before you actually see that my eyes are watering at the moment. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.